Hi, I'm Zachary Palmer with Golden Eagle Log and Timber Homes. And in tonight's live Q&A, we will be fielding questions from the live chat below. I'm joined by Justin Jankowski, Jan Halbur, and Jon Wendt. We already have so many great questions that have been emailed into us. Let's get started with a few of those. Jon, we've got a handful of questions from Jake and Becky. They'd like to know, how do they go about looking through all of our incredible floor plans, picking their favorite features, and bringing it all together?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one we get asked quite often. Customers find certain elements. Maybe it's the Solana from the Forever home, or a front porch on a different home. So yeah, you make a list of different features you like. Get in touch with us and really just leave it up to us to kind of take all the inspiration and bring it together and customize a floor plan for you.
Yeah, I think that's, Jon, just to add to that, I think that's definitely the advantage of Golden Eagle, is having that design team right here. It's not somebody in another office or contracted out. It's nice to have those guys, those teams right here. So, and there's many times throughout the week, we're hopping on a call with a customer or a Zoom call with a customer, and we can grab one of the designers and sit in on that call. And it just makes the process flow a lot easier having those guys right in the next office.
Yeah, it's just great to, if we can get a wants and needs list from our customers, just to kind of give us an idea, important things, how many bedrooms they might want, how many bathrooms, do they want, do they want outdoor living space? Do they want a basement with a walkout? These are, the more ideas that they can give us, then we can help them try to fit them in the right plans that might just work for them, or something that might be close.
Let's talk about some of those common features that we see being pulled from different plans. One that easily jumps to my mind is a prow feature wall. We oftentimes see that pulled over from either one of our lake house plans or the ski home prow. What other common elements do you guys see being incorporated into custom designs?
Yeah, one thing I've seen recently on a number of designs is the spancrete or the hollow core panels on the garage floor. So most clients are looking to maximize their footprint. So we're looking for ways to add square footage, if they're on a tight lake lot or whatever it is. That's a great way to basically double your garage space by adding all that square footage below your garage. Basically you're extending the walls, the foundation walls of your garage, putting those hollow core panels on top then, and that's what your car drives in on, and then you just created all that storage underneath. It's a pretty inexpensive way to add storage.
And it's not uncommon for customers too to maybe take a ranch style home and put a loft on it, or you find a lofted home that you really don't want the upstairs. We can easily remove that and turn that into a ranch floor plan for you as well.
And they've got, like when you said garages, we can make the garages bigger or taller so that we can get RV vehicles inside. That's something that a lot of our customers are starting to look at. If they want to put an RV in there, you got to have a taller garage door, so we should raise the garage walls on the garage. And I think covered porches and the Solanas are something that a lot of our recent homes have had, and we're getting a lot of calls on that. So it's outdoor living space is really popular.
Yeah, we've already seen that Solana become so popular, and they're adding that onto any floor plan. Jake and Becky also are going to be building in Northwest Missouri, and they'd like to know, how do they begin talking to builders in their area? Where does that start to become a part of our process?
Well, I think that, so Golden Eagle's got builders all over the United States that have been trained and are very knowledgeable about what we do here in our process. So, we try to, once we know the exact location of where the homeowner is going to be building, then we're going to go into our database and we're going to find some people and try to find a couple different builders that are going to be compatible with them. Because just like Golden Eagle, when we work with our client, we have to click, and that has to happen with the builder as well. It's very important because there's got to be good communication throughout the process. But to answer the question, so we do have builders all over the country that have been trained with Golden Eagle, and we'll get you in touch with the right one once we know exact location of build.
Marty Harrison has commented below about building in central Indiana. He would like to know, how involved will we be with the home automation and landscaping? We really need to find local third parties. So when can those conversations start?
Yeah, I think that, when we had those guests on the New Home Show podcast, Preston Hardscapes and some of those interior designers, they want to involve right from the beginning. You can optimize the design of the home to that hardscaping. And to speak about interior designers, you can design that home to the furniture placement of that home. So typically those subcontractors want to be involved right from the beginning, right from the design stage. When you start those preliminary custom designs with us, that's typically when they want to be involved before those plans are finalized.
And a few considerations that perhaps could influence us when it comes to home automation would be the blinds that they want. So a lot of times we're seeing those Lutron blinds that can be controlled through your phone, or even on wall widgets are available to control them if you're a guest. So that's important and relevant, because we also have Pella blinds that could be incorporated in your home, and those are so cool.
The instinctive system that they have is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yep.
So there are a variety of directions that can be pursued. And of course, we'd like to know of some of the home automation preferences, but for the most part, that can be taken care of on the back end. Also, we see dedicated networking rooms. Recall in that 17,000 square foot luxury estate, we didn't really get into it in the video, but there was like server rack after server rack in there, and they just had a ton of stuff automated. I think what's so cool about home automation is that it's getting to a point now where the level of complexity has decreased on the user interface end. Because think of how it used to be. The guy that set it up knew how to work everything, and then their daughter or son or wife or whoever it may be didn't even know how to turn on the lights, right? And these days, when you walk through that forever home, there's a lot of home automation that you're not even thinking about.
Right.
You could walk down the hall and the light will fade up. So it's not just the lights don't just turn on. There's a gradient of them turning on. And it can be set by different variables of the day, because perhaps it'll be acting as more of a night light in the evening. Therefore, it'd be a very dim light if it's after certain hours. But if it's during the middle of the day, you welcome much more light into that space. So there are a lot of really cool tweaks that can be incorporated into your home.
The technology is amazing. I mean, you can be on vacation in Florida and have a home here in Wisconsin or Colorado. And if you need to let the plumber in, you can click the phone, unlock the door, let him in. And when he's finished, he can call you back and you can lock the door.
It does bring a lot of comfort if it is particularly your second home, because you know if there's been activity at the home. And what most clients do is they send us pictures of the moose in their front yard.
Yeah.
Or like we're looking at Gina's photos.
Gina, yeah, the bears rummaging around their truck this morning or the other day. Yeah,
over in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Another great thing is perhaps a little bit more anecdotal, but my wife and I find it very convenient that we can control our sprinklers remotely. She gave me a call the other day and said, hey, the lawn's looking pretty yellow. We're going through a heat wave here in Wisconsin, as well as, of course, most of the Midwest. I could control it, turn those sprinklers on from the phone. But yeah, a lot of people do find the touchpad to be very convenient for getting into the the garage service door or whatever it may be. I've clearly indicated that I could go on and on about home automation. So we'll proceed to Brad's question. Brad would like to know, can he have high ceilings and tall doors, and how will it affect the home that he chooses? My first instinct of it's going to just simply affect your wall heights and the incorporation of these large timbers that we oftentimes utilize as bandboard,
Right.
and perhaps the door trim.
Yeah. I mean, 9-foot
else?
walls are standard with us, and 10-foot is not uncommon. So, and then, with that comes the height of your doors. Take that into consideration. Obviously, your exterior doors and windows, you probably want to raise those up a foot and let some more natural light in there. And then on the interior, you probably also want to raise the interior door height to 8 foot instead of the standard 6'8". Take advantage of that extra wall height and go to 8-foot tall doors, certainly.
And your roof trusses will determine the height of your ceilings. So if we go to a 10-12 or a 12-12 roof truss system, then that's going to raise that ceiling height up to 20, 24 feet in height on the inside. So, which people like that tall ceiling. So that's that would determine that part of it.
when a person goes from a home that might be designed with standard height doors, so 6'8", oftentimes the window header height, the top of the window, is going to match the top of the door. Well, if we go to 8 foot on the door height, we're going to bring the header height of those windows up, and then we'll have the conversation, and usually it leads to the window moves down. So it becomes a bigger window rather than the window shifting up, right? So it grows in size.
Right.
So you're going to get a lot more natural light into the home that way. And of course, oftentimes it's about the views. So that's impactful as well. Jon, they like the lofted luxury plan, and they're already planning to come into Golden Eagle and pick out their selections. They want to tour the facility, the model home, our warehouses. They'd like for us to paint the picture. What does it look like to visit Golden Eagle? How much time will they need?
That's all dependent upon the client and their scheduling. We have customers that come to us before they start the design process to get a good feel of the different features that we offer. If it's before we've started any design work, you're not going to be picking out necessarily final touches because there's a lot of stuff that could still change. There's a lot of things that could still be moving, but we get a good feel for the home when you first make that visit. That could be a couple hours, it could be a full day, just really depends. When you're really going to dive deep is once we've actually developed the floor plan for you, we've laid everything out how you want it, and then you're going to come in and do your final selections. And that's typically on a home that size and that caliber, that's a full two days going through and picking everything out. But on the initial visit, if you come in right away before we even start the design process, we'd certainly spend as much time as needed to develop the idea of what you're looking for, get a good feel of what materials you're looking for, give you a tour of the whole facility. That could easily be a half a day to a full day.
We've got Sherry also reaching out regarding maintenance-free siding. So she'd like to know, can she combine that with wood products on the homes? And she's also the one who had asked about where the logs and timbers come from. So let's circle back to Sherry and talk about maintenance-free siding.
Sure. Yeah, we've got a couple plans on our website. The timber accent home, the rustic lodge is another great example that blends those pre-finish maintenance-free sidings with timbers and timber accents. They blend beautifully together. There's also the concrete products. We've got a concrete log, concrete timber product. A couple homes are going up right now. We just got some pictures from a client, one of Jon's clients today. Turned out beautiful. One of a home down in North Carolina. So yeah, definitely can blend those maintenance-free facades with timber accents or log accents, no problem.
And the concrete log really is a great thing too if you're thinking about building out in the western states where maybe there's a higher fire zone and maybe fire codes are restricting whether you can use wood on the exterior. That's really why we came out with that concrete siding. So if you are thinking about building in a state like that, not only is it more maintenance friendly, but it also gives you that safety of the wildfires out there that we then pass codes and can use.
Good point, Jon. Yep.
And if you're on our website, we do this so often that we actually have one of our packages called the maintenance-free exposed beam timber package, and that basically is a maintenance-free exterior, and then we're combining the interior with the timbers and the exposed beams, so it's got that really new modern look that we're really showing a lot of lately.
There's a comment below in the live chat, and they'd like to know, can we do homes that have no electrical power, not even solar, zero power home like the Amish might do? And, I think within regards to that, there is nothing we haven't seen. We've got over 6,000 homes under our belt all across the United States and Canada, right? A question like this isn't the first time we've heard it. A lot of that leans on expertise of someone local. So that's something that we'll certainly want them to keep in mind. But we certainly are going to provide materials and do all the engineering for that home. And when it comes to the lack of electrical needs, I suppose we'll kick that back to them.
I suppose it just makes it easier, right? If we can do it with electric, we can certainly do it without.
That's what I would think. Right, exactly. And that's the cool thing, too, about these homes. I mean, you aren't going to even have the lights on nearly as often as a normal home. You've got so much natural light pouring in. We did that off-grid home in, I believe it's near the Boundary Waters.
Correct, yeah, Gunflint Trail.
That was so cool, because here's a home that just seems to have all the bells and whistles, and you'd have no idea it was solar powered.
Exactly.
Chuck would like to know, and I love this question, If money is no object, what would you recommend, and what are the advantages of logs, timbers, and stone? My instinct is I'm not going to limit myself to logs, timbers, and stones. No, money is no object. I want them all.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would definitely go with the largest timbers I could, or the largest logs I could. Put some hand-hewn finishes on there. The natural cut stone, like we're seeing right now on the luxury estate plan. When if money is no object, man, your imagination is limitation then. So, and our design team and our interior design selections team is spectacular. Decades of experience, and within those teams, we'll be able to come up with something cool if that's the goal.
Yeah, I think something that we would see happening in a scenario like that is those multi-folding panel doors. Mm-hmm. Right? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, super popular right now. It's going to open up those living spaces, going to expand those spaces. So when you have guests over, it's just you can spill all over into the next room or to an open air covered porch or deck. It's just going to allow for that space to be much more inviting and open. What they'll do is they'll basically slide and fold into each other all over to one end. We've got a company that we've teamed up with that is basically the industry leader in that. And they have a great sealant system on it, a great seal system. So that's very important to us and our clients, making sure that that door seals up very well and tight. We're up here in the upper Midwest. We've got a lot of homes in colder climates. So we want to make sure that those homes stay nice and tight.
Mm-hmm. Take a look at the Forever Home with all the interior finishes in that house. That's got all the reclaimed products and the hand scraped hickory floors and all the big timber trusses. That's got it's got everything in there.
What I appreciate about how we approach the idea of budget is that we are very honest up front with how much we think a home is going to cost. And that's because we want to make sure a client doesn't begin designing a home that they're ultimately not going to build, first and foremost. And we don't want them to get nervous when the home's under construction about where prices are coming in at, right? We want to over communicate what we're expecting because we're the ones with all this experience. And then I like to take it a step further. Okay, we can provide the best of the best that's available in the market, but we need to do an analysis. What's important to the client, right? What do they really care about? Do we need to put the best cabinetry in the third guest bedroom, right? Maybe not, right? Not in those closets when they're barely ever going to be opened. But we're doing that in the master suite, right? And we can apply that throughout the whole home. So much of this is a relationship, right? We're getting to know our clients. And I think what we oftentimes find is that we've got clients with a variety of budgets and they all end up with awesome homes. So that's pretty cool. And that just shows you the flexibility of our one-stop design center showroom, right? Because it is not putting you in just one area. Additionally, you reflected on our packages earlier, how we have these different package types. They're just to help someone get started with knowing, all right, this is generally what it reflects, but we can add more to it and we can reduce costs elsewhere.
Every Golden Eagle home that we sell, every one I believe last year could be featured on our YouTube. They're all amazing. They're all different budgets. Some of them have $300 faucets. Some of them have $3,000 faucets. They all look wonderful. They're all done with quality materials. So it's a great option for them.
Yeah, I think you're getting into a little bit about our process, Zach, and how we're, you're selecting your items, your amenities, you're designing your home, getting your price back before you even put a shovel in the ground. I think that's a great way we keep clients on budget if they want to maintain a budget. Obviously, most everybody has a budget they want to maintain, but our process is great. Basically, you've got everything selected and picked out before you even start construction.
Britt has commented below she'd like to know if we can do a hidden room with a bookcase hidden door. We actually just recently completed a project in Texas, and they've got a bookcase hidden door. Are you thinking of any others?
Yeah, I think there's a client in Colorado that I just recently did the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And we've done lots of safe rooms, where they actually have safe rooms. That's something, that they'll put in, and they can put in a regular door for a skirt of the door, so it looks like a regular door, but yet it might be a steel door or a safe door on the behind that.
And some clients just want that big old vault door too, that big, Fort Knox door we saw in the Rustic Lodge home. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. We have a question about hurricane safety and a hidden stone door room. So with that in mind, of course. Sam has commented below. They'd like to know what style of home is selling. They want to make sure that they're not building something that's straight out of the 90s. They want something that's cool and is going to be cool for a very long time. So what style do we see being popular right now?
I think just in general, any custom wood, I mean, we're seeing a lot of not only just the log or the timber, or a mix. I mean, obviously, most of what we're doing is customized for that customer, but just that natural product versus the man-made product.
Yeah.
That's the real trend I'm seeing.
I think there's been a real shift away from man-made products, trying to fake it and really move into natural components, real wood, real timber, real stone. We get a lot of clients that don't want the fake stuff anymore, and they want something cool. They want something that their neighbor isn't going to have. They want something that's going to be spectacular, that when somebody comes over, they're going to say, wow, they're going to remember that home when they leave, and they're just going to be wowed, and they're going to want to then eventually build one themselves. So, and that's what we do. We build spectacular homes. It's pretty fun.
And I can't honestly say that it's a log home or a timber home, because we do about 50-50. It's, we still sell a lot of log homes, some of them square log, some of them round log, but we still incorporate all the new technologies and all the new ingredients and products into them, so they're not outdated. They look just like the new home that we do.
Yeah, and you can blend the two. I mean, there's no rule saying you can't blend full log and timber. We do that quite often. In the farmhouse plan that we did, that was full log walls and a lot of timber on the inside. Same thing with the log and timber home. Round logs, square timbers on the inside, they blend beautifully together.
Yeah. That was basically our hallmark, is our full log home, and we still do a lot of them today. That's just a wonderful plan to have.
And I think a big reason why not many companies can do it, so when it comes to it, there's a lot of complexities if you're going to do it right. And we've built a reputation off of it, right? And then all this other stuff, of course we can do it. We can do the full log. Yeah, we can do timber frame. We can add log siding. And all of that comes pretty easily to our design team. Mm-hmm. Cindy would like to know, why are people choosing Golden Eagle compared to other companies with log or timber in their name? John, what sets us apart?
Well, I think obviously the one-stop shop, being able to come to the showroom and pick all your finishes out. Our reputation, I think we stand out just based on our reputation and the history. I think the fact that we do the in-house design right here. So not only are we designing the home, we're also selling all the components, so we can keep you in track on budget throughout the process, because we know what the products are going to cost that we're selling to you through that design. I think those are some of the big, obviously the products we're selling, we're selling quality, unique products that grabs a lot of people's attention that not everybody offers, so they come to us.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, products and service. I break that down into two, the complete package, into two facets. The products, the amazing products that we offer, but then being able to design those into a home. And then the services that we offer, the design and engineering services. You don't have to worry about, hey, my window jamb is going to be extended to the size of logs that I have. Same thing with the interior doors. Is the engineering going to be, meet the snow loads, the wind loads, the seismic loading in my area? Yeah, right. We're all taking care of that. Right. You don't have to worry about that stuff. Most people don't build a custom luxury home every day. We do. So, and that's why people come to us. They don't want to have to worry about those little things.
I think too, when you start comparing apples to apples, none of us will say, don't go talk to the competition, you know, go talk to them and compare apples to apples. What are you getting from each company? What products are they offering you? Do they have the logs you're looking for? You know, some companies might only have one kind of profile and they're trying to push you into that half log, because that's what they do, where we offer a wide variety of options for customers. We can truly do what it is you're looking for. And when you start comparing what you're really getting in quality and, to Justin's point, services, I mean, I think that's what separates it.
Yeah.
We have a much more complete representation of what it'll cost to build that home. And when you're shopping for anything in life, right, you want to know what's the whole thing going to cost. And oftentimes, a lot of other providers out there, they don't even feel confident in giving you a full understanding of what the scope of the project will be. And they'll encourage you to go and reach out to others to see what the cabinetry will cost. And it goes on and on. I think another great advantage to Golden Eagle is that we're not just trying to sell you a log home or a timber frame home or a hybrid home. We do it all. So to me, it's like if I were to go to a Ford dealership, that sales guy is going to tell me Ford trucks are the way to go, right? Go to a Chevy dealership, he'll say Chevys. With us, we're not trying to work you into what we sell. We're telling you we can do it all. We want to provide you the best home for you. And oftentimes, if it's just a timber frame company, they just want to sell you a timber frame. Doug would like to know, can you add a Solana room like what's seen on the Forever home to any of your homes? And he'd also like to know if it's a structural timber frame room.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So a Solana room can be put onto any house. I mean, obviously, you're going to have an exit to get in there. So whether you're going to have patio doors or some kind of, the awning doors or whatever to go out into that room. As far as structurally, it can be done with a conventional truss system, or it can be done with a timber frame truss. So yes, we can do it either way. If you do the timber frame truss, then you're going to have the exposed timbers underneath, so it's going to make it look a lot neater. But we can also do a conventional truss, and then we can finish that ceiling with corrugated steel or tongue and groove or whatever that it is you like to see on the inside. So it can be done either way. But yes, a Solana room could certainly be added to any plan.
It was neat to see on the screen the structure of those timbers going together, the skeleton of the system. So I always think that's so neat. But it does come with an additional cost. So a lot of times clients do like to add more decorative accents throughout the home, and you'd have no idea whether it's structural or not.
And that's where talking openly about your budget with us really helps, you know, like you commented before. Let us know what's important to you. Let us know the gives and takes, the wants, the needs, and what the budget is. And then that helps us give you those options. It helps us say, well, we could save a little bit of money here if we did this non-structurally, still gives you the look, but then spend the money here. You know.
Here's an interesting thing about that Solana room. You are not bound by anything. That room can be as big as they want it to be. When you're in the home, though, if you do have structural timbers carrying the loads of the roof system above, you may simply have to have a timber come down in a certain location. So you don't get quite as much flexibility, but you can get that same aesthetic with a non-structural timber home. And to me, it almost seems unfair to call it non-structural. Everything is structural, right? Everything is engineered.
Yeah, we're still going to design the roof system for that truss or that timber. There's going to be some extra weight with that timber. We're going to put some blocking and some hangers in that truss system to carry the weight. So there still is some design and engineering behind the scenes when it comes to that.
On my home, I was exploring options of doing structural timbers in that great room kitchen area, which I would say if you're doing a true structural timber frame home, a lot of people just do it in that large open concept area, and then the wings are framed in with timber accents. But getting back to the story, I was looking at doing these structural timbers, and it was going to require a post coming down in a certain area, and it was going to cut my kitchen short by about 18 inches. And I just wanted to keep those 18 inches. So that converted me right there to doing non-structural timber. And it looks better than I think if I had gone that first route.
Yeah, I think most people just want the look. They don't really care how it's achieved. They just want those awesome timber frame.
I absolutely agree.
Dresses.
Samantha's commented on cabinetry. She would like to do custom wood cabinetry throughout the home. And she'd even like it in her closets. So she'd like to know, can she do it in her closets? The answer is yes, you absolutely can. I think a lot of people are used to particle board, closet organizer systems, closet made and all that. That barely even crosses our mind when we think of closet cabinetry.
Right.
And all.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, cabinetry is used in pretty much every room of the house now. I mean, obviously the kitchens and baths and closets, but mudrooms, laundry rooms, office spaces have become very huge now. Lower level rec rooms or bar areas, those are a great way to use cabinetry in the house and just add another unique touch, like an Irish pub or something in a lower level or something.
Even outdoor kitchens. So we're providing stainless steel cabinets, also powder coated cabinets, and then garage spaces too, right? We're seeing that epoxy or polyaspartic, polyurea floor coatings. Those are so neat and incredibly durable. It really freshens up a space, and then you can use similar wood finishes like what are in the house or the same thing, drywall even. And it looks like a continuation of the living space.
Drop zones where they have areas to come in and sit down, built-in cabinets and built-in counters, very popular.
Charles is an engineer by trade, and he is very detailed. Sounds like a lot of our clients, because a lot of them do tend to be engineers, and they really seem to thrive off of the details that we provide. We never fall short on communicating information. Okay, so Charles would like to know, can you explain the process so he knows that he will get what he wants? So do you feel like we've adequately represented the process of Golden Eagle?
Well, I can touch on a little bit further, I guess, just because of my background in the design and engineering department. I mean, I'll tell you, our design and engineering plans are second to none. I mean, really, we're apt at designing and engineering anywhere in North America. We'll first start out with a preliminary design, which is typically 7 to 8 pages long now. Some other companies may call them their final sets. I mean, we've got elevations, isometrics, floor plan views, cross sections, even your room finish schedule is on the preliminary design right now. So once those preliminary designs are done, and we move into the engineering stage, now what happens is those 7, 8 pages now turn into 25, 30, up to 35 pages of construction plans. So there's detail pages, there's cross sections elaborated on, floor and truss and roof layouts done. Now, if you're in an area where they need to be professionally stamped by an engineer, now those pages all get sent to the engineer. He stamps and puts his seal on there and provides a calculation packet. I believe that one set of plans, construction documents I sent to Colorado was 400 pages long. I mean, it's pretty amazing how much, I mean, I get kind of excited about this because there's so much work that gets done at this stage that I think that, we need to elaborate on. We need to tell clients what actually happens at this stage, because it's pretty amazing the amount of information, the amount of engineering that goes into your home. So you're really getting 2 sets. So you're getting a preliminary set at the beginning, and once you move forward, you're getting into that final engineered set of construction documents, which is, like I said, the plans pages, 30 to 35 pages long, and then a calculation package, which could be up to 300 pages.
We've got a comment below in the live chat asking about one of the most beautiful areas in North America, which would be Alberta, Canada. They'd like to know if there are projects around Calgary, Canmore, Banff, Jasper. What an incredible area to visit. Of course, in our past, we've had projects around there. I can't think of, we haven't sent a film crew out there, and we don't have any photography of anything in that area right now.
Not that I can recall.
No, I think we've got a couple projects going up in the Toronto, north of Toronto up there right now. I don't think we've got much going in that British Columbia area.
Yeah, we've had quite a few outside of that Toronto area, haven't we?
Yeah, yep.
But northern Montana is very close to there. We've done projects there, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Susan would like to know, how long does it typically take to build a custom timber home from start to finish? She wants timbers, but drywall too. John, what do you think?
Well, it's going to depend on the complexity and the size of the home. We touched a little bit earlier, a smaller home could be in the 9-month range, and a larger complex home could be in the 16-month range. Just really depends on the design of the home and where you're building. What's the build season look like?
And just so our viewers know, we got into the nuances of what could affect that timeline earlier in the video, so be sure to go back and watch that. Mike would like to know the key differences between a timber frame home and a traditional home. Jan, would you say that there's some key
Well, a
differences?
traditional home typically is going to be a conventional 2x6 frame construction with sheathing and house wrap, and then most likely a vinyl siding or a smart side siding on the exterior, and it would typically be a drywall interior, walls and ceilings, so it really wouldn't have a lot of the wood products that would go along with more of a timber home. A timber home can be what we call our exposed beam timber, which would be the conventional stick frame construction, similar to the traditional home. However, it's going to incorporate all the wood products on the outside, so it would look like a full log on the exterior, or we could do a maintenance free, but we're going to incorporate all the timbers and the wide trims and the baseboards and the band boards and all the neat wood products that are going to go on the interior of the home. So maybe put some beams on the ceilings and add some trusses in there. Instead of going with a 4-inch trim that would be traditional, we're going to put a 6 or 8-inch trim in there and put some hand hewing to it so it gives it that rustic look. Maybe add some band board that would be a transition between the ceiling and the wall that wraps around the house. Put some beams on the ceilings in the bedrooms. So we're going to jazz that up and take a traditional home and make it into a timber style structure.
Let's stay focused on construction. Dan's got a question below about ICF foundations. He'd like to know if they can be used with his Golden Eagle build. Justin, of course, the answer is yes. Will you speak to different types of common foundations that we see on our builds?
ICFs, it's an insulated concrete form is what it is. So you stack these blocks together and then pour concrete in between those, and that styrofoam stays on there. There's also precasted forms that we've used in the past. I know some clients that have used that where they wouldn't be able to get a concrete truck in, so they brought panels in, and it's actually a panel that they build their foundation out of. And then there's also wood foundations. We've done wood type foundations, block foundations. I would say typically probably 90-95% of the foundations out there are poured concrete foundations, but you don't need any special engineering or a bigger foundation to do a log or timber frame home. It's pretty straightforward. We're apt at using any type of foundation, whether it's per the mason's preferences, or if it's something regional that's done, we'll adjust our design to those needs.
You'd like to get a soils report, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's that would be key. In some of those areas that may have shifting soils, or maybe there's bedrock, or maybe there's a lot of unknowns with the soil underneath the ground. The home I was just working with today out in Steamboat, there was 5 feet of topsoil on there, which we didn't realize, So a soils report was very key to have. That will tell us the PSF of the soil, and then we'll design and engineer the foundation to the PSF of that soil. So if it does need to be, a bigger footing, we certainly can do that and get it incorporated right away, instead of digging a hole and now finding that. Do it ahead of time, spend the extra maybe a few $1,000s in that area, whatever he may charge, it'll save you on the back end tenfold.
I'm surprised we haven't had any more questions about land. It's such an important part of the equation. Now, getting a soils report is valuable. Is there anything else that could be considered for clients interested in either buying land or, getting their home built?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking to another client today. Topographical survey would be very key. They're going to be in West Virginia. A lot of change in elevation. A lot of hills, a lot of rolling hills in that area. So that would be a very key piece of information to have. Have we done it without a topographical survey in the past? Yeah, certainly. But it's going to answer a lot of questions. There's not going to be unknowns. We're going to optimize the design of that home to the property. If it can support a walkout, we can take care of that, design it right in from the beginning, or if there needs to be some retaining walls, we can design for that right from the beginning. But yeah, survey is going to be a big one. Soils report would be big. HOA, if you buy a home that has an HOA or architectural guidelines, That would be a key piece of information to have. They may have some design guidelines that they want the home designed to, and our homes are going to fit that subdivision or HOA requirements. Typically they want homes like ours in their subdivision, in their properties, in their developments. So that's the kind of homes that they want to see built.
We've got a question from Douglas about the floor in the Forever Home Solana room outdoors. So that is, those are pavers. I believe those are concrete pavers, and it's actually got granite around the perimeter of it. And that granite is the same as the big boulders that were pulled in for the home, as well as the aggregate that's used around the home, and the actual quarry stone that's split-faced on the home as well. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love how that was all incorporated into one. It blended very well together.
Mm-hmm. John, we got a question here about having a walkout basement on a flat lot. How do you go about doing that?
Oh boy, I mean, with a lot of grading, you could certainly make it happen. There's going to be costs associated to it, but it's going to be difficult to do a walkout on a flat lot unless you elevate the home and do a lot of grading and bringing in soil and stuff. So if you're really wanting a walkout basement, your best bet is to find land that's got a little bit of a slope to it. Doesn't need as much as a lot of people think, but you need a little bit of a slope to make it ideal.
I recall doing a tour of a video that we called Cabin in the Woods, and that was a flat lot, and it had a walkout back there. It's pretty phenomenal. They brought in a ton of grade.
Right.
They loved having that access. It's very convenient for bringing furniture in and out of the home.
And if you got big enough land and maybe you want to put a pond in, you can use the grade that you dig out right there to kind of work around, but there's going to be extra costs.
That's a fair point. A lot of times people like having a walkout when they've got lake access, right?
For sure.
Douglas would like to know if he can put a golf simulator in his home, and if that were the case, how does Golden Eagle go about designing a space for that?
Yeah, that's we have several homes that we've done with the golf simulator. The biggest thing is you got to make sure that you got tall enough first floor. We're going to need probably a 10-foot ceiling height down the basement. So again, you're going to want to probably incorporate a floor truss system on your main floor, and then pour 10-foot or have 10-foot concrete walls so that you've got a room for it, because you got to be able to swing the golf club and get through it. So usually a 10-foot ceiling height would be a minimum that you'd want to have for that.
Yeah, one of my recent clients put it in the room below the garage. We talked earlier about those hollow core panels on the garage. We made the garage 10 foot tall, and then he put his sports room underneath the garage. And it's actually going to double as a movie theater room for him too. So that's very popular. It's a golf simulator and a theater room, kind of all in one. Wrapped in.
All on the same screen, right?
Yeah, all on the same screen. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, yep.
And did they recess the floor?
We did not have to. We just made the walls tall enough. The foundation walls 10 foot tall down there.
Awesome. I've got a new question here from Dan Crisp. He says, how close to a huge rock outcropping can I build? My build site is on a hillside with a huge rock outcropping on top.
Well, I mean, with the proper engineering, I believe we could build right on top of it. I mean, you might have to drill into that rock and put some anchor bolts or epoxy some anchor bolts into it. But we could definitely look into that during the design and engineering process. I think we could incorporate right next to the outcropping if it needs to be.
And I'd get an excavator involved in that right away up front, so that you get an excavator there to take a look at what you've got going on, so that we can communicate with him when we're helping you to design that house for you.
Would that site survey that you'd referenced earlier, does that help understand a scenario like this?
Yeah, I mean, it'll tell us the change in elevation, but the soils report might tell us more. That'd be more important. Yeah.
Very fair. Genevieve has a very nice question here. She says that they would like to build a legacy home with us. They want the next 5+ generations to enjoy the home, and they appreciate how we plan for the future with removable ceilings, future conduits. She must follow our videos. Smart home technologies. Who at Golden Eagle can she have their family project manager reach out to? So it looks like they've got someone who, it looks like in this case, we won't be dealing entirely with the homeowners, that they've got someone that will support their project, perhaps a builder friend or something of that sort. Sure. Who should that person reach out to? Us, right?
Yeah, I'd be happy to work with them. Give me a
So would
call.
I.
Yeah.
All of you are stepping forward. When you go to our website, there is a contact us section, and that of course has the contact information for all three of you. Linda would like to know the estimated cost per square foot of a log home. Of course, that is a loaded question, as we had referenced earlier in the conversation. But I mean, it's not an unfair question, because of course that tends to be what a lot of people ask. Now, can we give a rough idea of where does the scale of square foot pricing fall? And perhaps we can do log homes end up being more affordable than timber homes, or is it opposite of that?
Yeah, no, I think most of the time they're pretty close in price to each other, unless you get pretty elaborate with one of them. You know, like our ultra custom timber series is definitely going to be more expensive than some of our full log homes, just because of the higher level of amenities that are placed in there right from the beginning. But yeah, square footage, that's traditionally what most people are apt at or asking, you know, what a home is going to cost. And it is a loaded question, because there are a lot of things that are going to affect the price that don't touch the square footage. So some of those are covered porches, decks, garage spaces, you know, the non-living areas. I mean, you look at that Forever home, that home had 7,000 square feet of living space. It had 7,000 square feet, an additional 7,000 square feet of garages, decks, Solanas on it. So all that's going to add cost to the home, but we never touch the square footage of the home. Right. So
Right.
I would say if a client, you know, had to nail me down on a starting point, I would tell them, we're going to start at about $500 a square foot for most areas of the country. It's going to be regional too. You know, there's certain pockets of the country that are going to be more expensive. And then it goes up from there. Our ultra custom timber homes are probably in the 600 to 700 square foot range. And then, like I mentioned, some of the regions of the country are more expensive than the others. You know, some of those areas of Colorado are pushing $900,000 a square foot. It is the reality of it. You know, we want to be honest and upfront with you before we get into a project. So we're designing the correct home for you.
Right. I mean, we try to work with the budget. Again, we said that before. You know, that's why we have a quarter log or a half log option that is going to look exactly like a full log home from the exterior. Nobody's going to know the difference. The interior is going to probably be finished more traditionally with a tongue and groove or a drywall. That's going to bring the cost down per square foot. But like you said, Justin, it's, you know, how big a garage? If it's a 4-car garage, you could take a 3,000 square foot home that doesn't have a garage. Now you add a 4-car garage to it. Well, how do you incorporate that into square footage? Yeah. So it's very difficult to determine exactly until we have a good idea of the floor plan layout. If we got an idea of the floor plan layout, then we probably be able to give you a better idea.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, what we'll do is generate a materials cost and then put a multiplier on top of it. And I feel that's more accurate than per square foot cost, because now you've got the size of the garage incorporated, you got the covered porches and Solanas and decks incorporated into it, and I feel it's a more accurate cost. You know, and the orientation of the square footage too, whether it's below grade or above grade, makes a difference too. You know, finishing off a lower level is going to be a lower per square foot cost than above grade square footage.
You know, every day we get called, several phone calls a day, each one of us sales guys, and people are asking price. So the first thing that we direct you to is we need to figure out a plan layout. So we can either get you onto our website, take a look at our floor plans to see if there's something in there that you like, or you can forward us some ideas so that we've got an idea what you're looking for. And then typically, once we have a general idea what you're looking for, then we're going to ask you a questionnaire. We're going to have a questionnaire that's just going to ask you some basic questions. What do you want on your walls and ceilings inside your home? Do you want a garage? Do you want a basement? Is it going to be a walkout basement? You know, so we're going to have, say, a list of 20 or 25 questions that are quite simple to answer. And that's going to give us enough information so that we can give you a good idea on a ballpark price. And that's the first thing that we need to establish with each customer before we start a plan design, is we want to make sure that we're in budget for you. So So we're going to do everything we can to try to fall into your budget, but we're going to need your ideas in as many answers to some questions that we could get so that we could come up with that price.
And simply put, just give us a call. You know, while we certainly welcome that initial conversation of what is the cost per square foot, we want to have a more thorough conversation, and we'll guide you through it. We'll welcome whatever information you may have. The rest of it we'll figure out along the way. It's a fun and easy process. A lot of our homeowners come to really enjoy it. Bree has a comment in here. They bought land in Montana, and they promise that they'll be in touch soon. They're very excited to meet all of us. They want to know what kind of information do they need to have for this initial phone call to get started. Yeah. Couldn't they just simply contact us, let us know what their intentions are? They don't need to have a lot of stuff figured out yet.
No, give us a call and we'll guide you through the process, what we're looking for. You know, we'll ask the questions and get the information we need to get that process started with the customer for sure.
Yeah, everybody comes to us at different stages in the process, and yep, just give us a call and we'll help guide you through the steps.
Janet's got a question below. She'd like to know what are some of the latest design trends and ideas that we are seeing on new home builds. John, Justin, you both are on the New Home Show all the time, bringing on industry experts to talk about the latest and greatest. And that's what's so cool. We want to know, what are the experts going to do if they're going to build a brand new home? So what are some of the latest and greatest things that you're seeing on the show?
Well, two things I'm starting to see right now, just in the design trends. One big thing is home gyms. A lot of people now are, people are getting active. Not that they weren't before, but people are living that active lifestyle. I've got two homes right now that are going to turn out really cool, where they're doing home gyms in the lower level, but they're incorporating large patio doors. So now they can let in all that fresh air, natural sunlight while they're downstairs working out in their gym. I think that's getting real popular and really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I touched on the sliding folding doors. I think those are huge right now. Expanding spaces. Custom cabinetry is definitely a key feature. We spend a lot of time designing cabinetry throughout that home. So we work with a number of different custom cabinet manufacturers just to give you those cool features within the cabinetries, cabinets, I should say. And I'm also seeing a trend towards elevators. That's kind of common with our clientele. They want everything on one floor, but they end up with a two-story home or a home with a lower level. So they're putting in an elevator to get themselves down, or to get furniture down and up, those floors. But just trying to incorporate timber trusses, timber accents throughout the home wherever they can. Let's find a place to put these. Let's add some valley trim. Let's add some corner trim, some vertical timber accents underneath the trusses. There's a number of different textures you can put on those timbers then too. Yeah, they could be smooth. Some people just like the clean, sleek, modern look of the smooth timber, but a lot of clients love that hand-hewn texture. And then our chisel texture too is becoming very, very popular. We've come through, we've done a couple different generations of that, and boy, it looks awesome. I really like that chisel texture too.
Another thing I think is multiple master suites. We're seeing a lot of that, where people don't want just their master suite. They want 2 or 3 master suites where they actually have a private bath with each bedroom. I'm seeing a lot of that coming into out of my plans that we've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe moving the laundry room. I've seen a lot of that, where incorporating that laundry room closer to the master bedroom area, where 95% of the laundry is going to be created is in that master bedroom, especially if it's just a couple whose kids are grown and gone and may only come home for visits and holidays and stuff. Maybe a couple different laundry rooms, one in the lower level and then one right by their bedroom, so that they don't have to carry that laundry all the way across the house.
Yep. Pets are very important to clients too. Yeah. I mean, they're family members, right? So we're designing a lot of spaces just for clients' pets. The one in that Forever home was pretty spectacular. I mean, it had its own run, its own dog room, spa area, I believe it was. An area to groom the dog, to let themselves out, come and go. So designing a lot of spaces for clients' pets are one of a key feature in designs right now.
Well, these are all so many great ideas. It looks like we have answered all the questions in the live chat below. Now, of course, we welcome more questions, so please reach out to us. Our contact info is on the screen. And until next time, please subscribe. We've got many more great home tours coming up soon.